We got a couple juicy trades
As always, baby.
from our follower Dynasty Leagues.
Talk it up.
Shout out to the Delta League today. We got a big trade from KCB and Degenerate, and literally as we're recording this, Casey has just made another trade. So we're going to talk about two of these trades.
He's moving.
Because we're in leagues with some of these guys who support us over on Patreon, we're able to see the full context of their team. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at these trades without context first. We will then bring in the context and tell you where we stand on them. So let's look at this first one from Casey and Degenerate. Shout out to the Delta League. Deshaun Watson and Nick Chubb goes to Casey. For Degenerate, he gets Javonte Williams, Trey Lance, and a 23 second round pick. Where do you stand on this trade? Let's talk about this first one here.
Yeah, I think for this first trade, I'm going to take the KC side, the Watson and Nick Chubb. As much as I love, we just had this conversation. Javonte Williams, what's the longevity? The injury does scare me of the ACL, the MCL, and that other injury, part of the knee that he also injured. I think it's going to be a long-term process. I don't think he's going to come back and automatically be the same guy. And I'm thinking of a Saquon Barkley scenario. Okay, he's back, but he needs to get through that mental hurdle. And then, in 2024, he's like, okay, Javonte is technically back and he'll get unleashed. There's a whole scenario there. I'm not necessarily sure if I want to invest in that. And Trey Lance, third-year rookie, essentially, that hasn't played, a whole season. Do I still believe in the talent? Absolutely. But I will 100% take Deshaun Watson over a Trey Lance right now. And Nick Chubb, when I think about Nick Chubb, 26 years old, he probably has another 2 years on his running back life right now. Not on his life. Gosh, that sounds terrible. On his running back life, fantasy life. I would take the chance with that because by that time, you're saying, well, I'm okay to start Javonte Williams because hopefully he's coming back. It's all hypotheticals. Yeah. We don't know. You have to ride the wave with Javonte Williams, but give me Deshaun Watson and Nick Chubb.
Yeah, this is tough because again, I've made my stance on Trey Lance quite clear.
Yeah,
I'm not actively buying him because of the injury. I just don't like. I know we've compared it to Dak's injury. Some people have, or to the injury that Michael Vick had, but my response to that is always, well, those players had already established themselves. They didn't have question marks around, are they the guy? They were the guy, and the team was waiting on them to come back. As much as I believed in Trey Lance's breakout, and I still love him as a player, my stance has been since the injury that I'm holding. I'm not actively buying. I'm not actively selling. However, Deshaun Watson's been someone I've been trying to buy. I understand there's an ethical issue here, but purely if you think from the game of fantasy and don't take it outside the game of fantasy, which I understand not everyone wants to do that. I respect that totally. Then he's an incredible buy low right now. Nick Chubb's looked incredible. Now we talk about Javonte Williams and kind of like Trey Lance, I'm in the same area. I'm not actively buying. I'm not actively selling.
Ride the wave.
We had a trade that was brought up, in the last video we just recorded where someone got Javonte Williams for basically Rashad Bateman. In that scenario, of course I'm definitely buying Javonte Williams. It depends on the price. But for me here, I think if there was a first round pick on the Degenerate side, I feel more comfortable making this move and taking on that amount of risk. Because at the end of the day, as much as I love these players, there is great risk attached to Javonte and Trey Lance moving forward. I would say greater risk attached to Trey Lance.
Because then by that time, if he plays a full season in that year 3 where he does come back in 2023 and he's not the guy, it's like, well, great, we can move forward from now. Where you just traded freaking Deshaun Watson for him, which is tough.
It's tough. It's tough. I think that this could really work out for Degenerate. My problem is, even if I'm a rebuilding team, I don't want to move Deshaun Watson. Do you know what I mean? I don't. I want to keep him until he raises his stock to that top kind of 6 status. So without context, I am going to go Casey here. Just we as we're recording this, we just saw another trade that Casey made. So I think it's important before we look at their teams to include this context. Casey was able to
on my phone
send Deshaun Watson and Hollywood Brown and receive Allen Lazard and Jalen Hurts. So he was able to flip Deshaun Watson. He still kept Chubb, and he flipped Hollywood Brown for Allen Lazard and Jalen Hurts. That one's really interesting because if Deshaun Watson what I believe, if he's able to recover his top 6 status as a fantasy asset, then I like the Deshaun Watson side here.
Okay.
Jalen Hurts obviously looks incredible, but with the combination of Deshaun Watson and Hollywood Brown, Hollywood Brown looks legit, and that connection of my guy this year
100%.
with Kyler Murray has been 100% rewarded with that faith in him. So like in Dynasty, I still think Hollywood's the wide receiver to own long term in Arizona. So if Watson's able to recover and retain that status, I will take Scary Hour's side here. However, I believe Casey's probably a win now team, so I understand why he would make that move to go get Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I really think this trade does favor Scary, Deshaun Watson, Hollywood, just like you said, because of Hollywood Brown. I like that Jalen Hurts right now, the QB5 in the community. It's clear that, he's in contention to be MVP with Lamar Jackson on his side, and he's looking great. And if people are still questioning if he's a long-term answer, I think he is. I think he should get a contract extension by the end of this year if he does continue. If it does continue, right?
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. If it does continue. But yeah, I think both trades are very interesting. I am going Scary side, but Jalen Hurts is a massive upgrade right now until Deshaun Watson comes back and solidifies himself. I don't think he'll have the span to solidify himself for that 5-6 game that he has, or maybe like 3 or 4. I forgot what week he comes back.
Well, if they make it into the playoffs, he'll have
some more
a really
games.
good chance to kind of
exactly. So we'll definitely see. So I think it's a toss-up. I am taking Deshaun's side. It's very close. I like the Hurts as well.
Yeah, Hollywood Brown, man. Everyone who believed in him or bought him has been well rewarded so far.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's go back to the first trade because that's the one that we're really going to decide here with context.
Right.
Okay, so that first trade between Casey and Degenerate, and now let's look at their teams and see if that changes context. I was on Casey's side. You were on Casey's side for this trade, purely because of risk. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at their teams back to back. I assume that one is win now and one is futuristic. So
probably, yeah.
Let's look at Degenerate's team first.
Okay.
Okay, so he has Marcus Mariota right now, CMC, Nick Chubb. Didn't he just move Nick Chubb? Why is this trade not submitted here?
No
Shouldn't
idea.
Nick Chubb be on Casey's team?
Should be on Casey's team.
Is it showing the same thing for you?
It is showing the same thing for me.
Okay, well,
let's just disregard
he doesn't have Nick Chubb. Okay, so Nick Chubb is not on his team. Curtis Samuel, Brandon Cooks, Mike Gesicki, Aaron Jones, Travis Etienne, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Jamal Williams, Hines, James Robinson, Javonte Williams, Michael Thomas.
Javonte Williams is not on that team anymore. Or he should be on that team. Sorry, not Nick Chubb. Continue. You're right.
Yeah, he has Javonte Williams. So this team has talent everywhere. It's 1-4. Okay, this is interesting. So, Degenerate moved away from Watson and Chubb, but he has CMC.
I'm assuming he has picks. We'll get into that later.
He has Etienne, Aaron Jones. Okay, this is interesting. James Robinson. I don't think we're done at all seeing the trades from Degenerate. I imagine CMC is going to be traded. Probably Samuel, Cooks, Aaron Jones.
It's
and
interesting.
probably James Robinson, Michael Thomas. I imagine he's nowhere done making moves here.
Agreed.
But started 1-4, so I guess he had to make a decision.
Yeah, make a decision, either blow it up or continue to try to ride out. And that's what you got to do in scenarios like this.
Yep. All right, Casey's team has Lamar Jackson, Clyde, Melvin Gordon, also Nick Chubb. Okay, so keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp, Mike Evans, Tyler Higbee, Devontae Adams, Jared Goff, which he also now has Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield, Zeke, Kareem Hunt. He has Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. He's got Rashad Penny, so that hurts him. Oh, so it shows Chubb on his team here. He's got my name is Jeff Wilson, Amari Cooper. He's got a lot of Browns here. Alan Lazard is on the squad after that trade he just made.
Yep. Dalton Schultz. He looks like a win now team as well. You put Nick Chubb in for Melvin Gordon.
Yep. Nick Chubb's here.
Yeah. You have Cooper Kupp, Mike Evans. You still have Dalton Schultz there, still a young tight end if he can get healthy. It doesn't look good. He has Amari Cooper that he can flex as well.
Yep.
And he also has Zeke, by the way. He has Zeke on the bench as well, which is crazy.
And Kareem. And Jeff Wilson.
So, I mean, he has enough talent. He's a win now team. This is a very good team for KCB. It improves as well. Let me double check because you can't see
Yeah,
his
Casey's team is nasty. So, like, ideal starting lineup is probably Lamar Jackson, Clyde, Nick Chubb, Cooper Kupp, Mike Evans, probably still Tyler Higbee, Devontae Adams at flex. Who do you want? I mean, you want Zeke, you want Hunt, you want Jeff Wilson, you want Amari Cooper. You can make that decision between them. And then at this second quarterback spot here, you have Jalen Hurts.
He also has David Bell on the
IR.
The IR. Also,
so this team is disgusting. I mean, I don't know how anyone beats this team this year unless there's another team in Delta.
Yeah.
So if you're in the Delta League and you're watching, I mean, you might need to make some moves if you're trying to win this year.
By the way, Degenerate also has Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson on his taxi.
Oh my goodness, Degenerate.
That he has Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson.
Okay. Yep, I see that.
Yeah, Brandon Ayuk. Right. He has Travis Etienne. He doesn't have. I thought he had Jameson Williams, but that's about it.
I mean, he's obviously drafted really well to have all these players.
So he's just.
What's his draft capital look like? He has his first and a second.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got all his main. I imagine the next move for Degenerate here is probably to sell. Can't really sell Mariota, but to sell CMC, Aaron Jones, maybe Jamal Williams, James Robinson if he feels that way.
Yeah.
Sell Samuel, Cooks, Michael Thomas, and then now you probably you could get probably 4 or 5 first round picks from what I just mentioned.
You probably can.
So now you're looking at a core of Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, which Trey Lance still the jury's not out on him yet. We don't know. Travis Etienne, Javonte Williams, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Brandon Ayuk. So I mean, there's a lot here still to build around with Degenerate's 100%. Team.
Maybe he's not giving up. Maybe what he's trying to do is move these players and then elevate, Garrett Wilson, Olave from the taxi. I mean, I don't know why he hasn't elevated them from the taxi, to be completely honest with you.
Well, right now it looks like 200 IQ because if he has them on the taxi and he's going to tank, that's like the most legal, ethical way to do it. I mean, they're on your taxi. You've done the 100% right thing if you want to tank rest of season.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because in our leagues, you have to start your best lineup. But if you've put rookies in your taxi who are eligible, I mean, that's just 200 IQ. That's a really smart move.
It is a smart move. Gosh, this is crazy.
Yeah, this is very interesting. All right, now we look at Casey's team. What does his draft capital look like? He's still got 2 seconds and 23.
No 23 first.
No 23 first or 24.
Okay,
or 25.
He still has some pieces in 22, like 23 though. Like I always said, 23 seconds, excuse me, could get some value, some good first round value. Let's see if that continues to pan out. It doesn't look that way right now, but some interesting moves.
I think with the context of Degenerate and honestly knowing that Olave and Wilson's on his taxi, that is 200 IQ in my opinion. Knowing that he started 1-4, if I started 1-4 and I had that team, would I not be looking to blow it up? I probably would.
You just go young.
I still think I wanted more draft capital though on the Javonte side.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. I completely agree.
I think I still wanted more draft capital, but I think it makes a lot more sense, and it makes sense as to why both players did it. For Casey, again, trying to build this monster, unstoppable win now team right now. It is getting older though. I mean, Nick Chubb gonna be 27 soon.
Yeah.
Clyde's young, I guess. Melvin is definitely past peak. Kupp is old. Evans is getting up there. Adams is definitely up there.
Yeah.
So he's fully gone all in with this team. Which I'm not saying it's the wrong move, because I mean, God, it's gonna be hard to stop that team.
Yeah, it is. God.
But 2 different philosophies. Like any thoughts here as we end?
No, I think both teams are definitely in very interesting positions. You can see Casey, it looks like more of a win now team, and Degenerate still has win now pieces, but with some real youthful players there. It's weird, but I think it kind of works, and I think it looks like he's just been unlucky coming out to being 1-4. Just been unlucky right now, and maybe that's exactly what he wants to do. So let's see how it pans out, but I mean, both of these teams are actually really good, in my opinion.
Degenerate's going to be in a tough spot with trying to trade these pieces because Scary Hours here has 1, 2, 3 first-round picks. I have 2 myself, and I'm not going to be looking to move them. So I wonder how he's going to navigate this. I'm very interested. I want to be staying tuned to your team here, Degenerate.
Yeah, you can. We kind of have to. I might have to make some trades with some of these guys.
It might have to be 2024 picks.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, there's probably another win now team out there that Ravenger's team looks pretty good. Maybe
Bull,
he's looking to make some.
There's actually technically 3. There's 3 4-1 teams, which is Casey, my Bull, Zach Ertz, and then Ravers. So it's going to be a bit tough. I wonder what their draft capital looks like. But yeah, it's interesting. It's crazy how it's crazy when you look at teams like with the draft without context, and you see it's like, what are you doing? And then you see it's like, holy shit, 200 IQ.
Yeah. It's like, okay, I definitely understand why both people made these moves.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's why context is so important in trades in general in your guys' leagues. You know, if you see trades and you're like, oh my God, what the hell is this?
It just makes more sense for us.
First response should always be context.
Yeah.
And once you get the context, I think most people know what they're doing.
Agreed.
So with context, I still do lean Casey's side, but I understand why Degenerate made the move.
Yeah. Same?
Okay.
Agreed. Completely agree.
All right, Casey, Degenerate, if we left out any context that you think is important, of course, comment down below. Anyone who's watching, let us know where you stand on these kind of trades. I don't think anyone got fleeced here at all. I think it makes sense for both sides. But huge love, guys. We enjoy bringing these trades to you. Always try and bring, content from our leagues that we really love and enjoy being part of. So huge love. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you next week.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos,
watch it.
You can also subscribe
right now
if you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/FantasyLand fam.